So what I do recommend is getting one of those rubber dampening pad that you can put on here. If I remember the brand, you can get them from Get FPV. They are called Lumineers. They are orange color, and I don't really have them at the moment, but yeah, so that it prevents vibration on a flight controller. But in my case, I'm not really gonna put the standoffs. If you want, you need to locate this bag, this blue bag with the blue stickers. These are all the standoffs for the flight controller. In my case, I'm using something different. So if you guys haven't heard about this, this is the mini CC3D or the CC3D Atom. It comes with a case. What I'm gonna do is to mount this case here, but in this case I don't have the luxury to use a standoff. What I'm gonna do is to use a foam pad, like one of those sticky double-sided tape like the 3M one, really strong, and then I'm gonna just mount it right here. For the vibration, because of the pads, it's actually dampening this flight controller on my CC3D Mini. Okay, assuming you have installed this 4 standoff and the tall standoffs on the main frame, then you have to go install the hardware. These are the hardware for the arms. They go right here on these 2 holes. These 2 holes. Yeah. And I'm gonna do that real quick now. Like this. It fits in perfect. But you need to have a standoff so that you can hold this up high for your flight controller. If you're using a CC3D or NACE 32, alright, now that we have finished the PDB boards with the 4 ESCs soldered into the pads and the main leads and the auxiliary, we're gonna assemble the main frame. Now this is the main part of the frame. We're gonna put the standoffs right here first. So what you're gonna do is, in the Space One box that you have, find the red color bag with a red. These are all the standoff. So I'm gonna take out the standoff. Here you go. And what you need here is to have a hex screw. This is what I have, the hex screwdriver. If you see this plate, this is where the battery strap goes. This is the front, this is the back. Well, 2 will be here. So I'm gonna lay out here so that you can see what I'm gonna do. Right here. In the middle here. And the last 2 here. So I'm gonna quickly assemble this. This whole put it. Screw there and then screw. Alright, the next step is to get the yellow bag with a yellow sticker, and we're gonna install the arm hardware. Alright, so after installing the standoff, we need to install the arms now. We need to locate the yellow sticker back. These are all the arm hardwares. So we need to install the arms. So now the special thing about this frame is, if you realize there are 3 holes at the end of the arm, but I'm assuming if you choose the extreme end holes, you get a wider wingspan, and if you choose the smaller one, you get a smaller wingspan. So I'm not sure if I'm correct, but you may want to double check that. But I'm gonna just use the standard hole at the end and make it wider. Okay, so I'm gonna install this arm by arm. Make sure you don't lose the screw because they don't give you extras of this. Some people have the magnetic tray that I recommend. You can just stick all this without worrying losing them. So I'm gonna screw the arms in. Of course, it's a little bit hard to screw in. It's not perfect, but this is good because essentially it locks down the arm to prevent any vibration. As you can see, the holes on this carbon fiber, they are freshly drilled, and it takes a while to get them seasoned, but this is good as long as it gets tightened up. Alright, my last arm. Now the next step is to use in the yellow bag this metal aluminum mini standoffs. They have to go on the bottom of this arm. The reason is because this is for you to mount the PDB properly. You need to stand up so that this height here will have enough space for the PDB and the ESCs that we just put in. So just use this wrench which I have here. We're gonna just tighten it. I think just sparingly tight, not over tighten it. So now that we have this bottom frame, main frame assembled, we need to mount this PDB with the ESCs that we just did onto here. Now there's a little bit of management going on, so you have to decide on how you want to do this. For me, I would put in and line up this. If you can see, line up this. I will properly mount the cable in. This is the ESC signal cable. The holes are cut. I'm assuming that it's planned out to be suitable for this configuration, so you don't have to really worry about. And now I have my auxiliary, so, and be careful with your cables. I would normally like to line this tree like ESC cable on here. You probably want to know, mark them, and because there's a A, B, C on an ESC, you probably want to mark them so that you know what area to connect to the motor to make it spin the correct direction. But in my case, I'm quite experienced with the cable, so I'm just gonna screw it in. So now see, I think I need more space here. So make sure you don't want to screw onto any cable, so make sure you double check. None of the cables are crimped onto any of the standoffs. You don't want to short them out. So my back, if you can realize, that's kind of perfect. I can squeeze my fuselage battery port out. Now with this lined up, I'm gonna use the hex nut that comes with inside the yellow bag again. This hex nut. I'm gonna lay them down here. Now be careful because there's LEDs here. You don't want to use a tool and screw out the LED. Just be careful. Just keep this LED in mind. Yeah. So you might want to check if your wrench, in my case, it's perfect. Now all I have right now is a really neat bottom part of the frame with the ESC PDB all installed. Now you see, you want to expose these three cables because we're gonna solder the motors on here. So you want to make sure that they are properly aligned. Like as previously mentioned, you might want to mark the ABC, but for my case, I know what's gonna go on. The middle cable always go to middle, and swap these two cables you can swap to check the orientation of the motors.